RMJ Movie Reviews back again with the continuation of my Arnold-a-thon with Last Action Hero, directed by John McTiernan, released in summer of 1993. Well, Last Action Hero, with all of our heroes that we grew up with, all of our action heroes, namely the ones from the 80s, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, Seagal, all those guys, Chuck Norris. Eventually, there reaches a peak in their career where they're on a roll and then a movie goes into the toilet. Prime example with Last Action Hero. This was a highly ambitious project that was in the midst of having an identity crisis. They had a good concept, but I think this is a case of maybe vanity or just getting a little bit too far ahead of themselves. But Last Action Hero bombed at the box office. It was going up against the juggernaut that is Jurassic Park. And those of us who remember that summer of 1993, Jurassic Park just destroyed everything in its path. I saw a sneak preview for Jurassic Park with my sister. I didn't think that thing was going to be good, and I love Jurassic Park. I was a Jurassic Park cheerleader. I thought that was going to be the last action movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger ever made. I didn't realize that it was kind of a spoof on 80s and early 90s action films at that time. And, you know, you have one of the veterans of the genre, John McTiernan, who directed the original Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, and the original Predator, directing the film. So he has, you know, the touch of the gritty, hardcore, raw action of 80s action movie with mature adult performances. But Last Action Hero was a concept that they weren't really quite sure. So what you have here is child fantasy picture, and then you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, actioner, but then you have a spoof that's making fun of the movies that Arnold Schwarzenegger was popular for at that time, and all the Stallone and Van Damme and Seagal and all the other guys. And the movie kind of really gets kind of clunky and really not really sure what it wants to be. Now, I will say for myself, I wanted to see Last Action Hero because I was 11 years old when it was released that summer. I did not go see it at the theater. And I know a lot of my friends, nobody really saw Last Action Hero when it came out. I mean, everybody was going to see Jurassic Park. All the action sequences within the film are awesome. I mean, they're fantastic, great action sequences, and they're actually exciting and well done. And I kind of sat there watching Last Action Hero thinking to myself, what if this was actually a real Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie? It would be awesome. I mean, there's a stunt where Schwarzenegger he drives down that LA embankment that's in To Live and Die in LA and Blood In, Blood Out and all the movies that are based around LA. There's a cool chase through there. There's also a chase where he's on top of a roof and he jumps off on top of an elevator, and there's a helicopter that has like a minigun on it. Cool stuff, and it's so well done and exciting. It makes you wish that it was real. And then you got Tom Noonan, who comes in to play the Ripper, which there's also a subplot about Jack Slater's son being killed, which is entirely too heavy for this movie. That's kind of supposed to be a little bit of a kid's film too. It's just very, very heavy stuff, you know. And Tom Noonan, of course, he always brings it. It's just a pity that his character wasn't more utilized within this film. He only basically comes in the beginning, and then he comes back in at the end, you know, which is kind of a shame. I wish that there would have been more of his character in this movie, because Tom Noonan just brings it, and his death scene is really cool. But excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. And Charles Dance from Alien 3 shows up in here too, playing a really good villain. You got Anthony Quinn from Revenge, who's playing this really goofy take on a mobster in the film. He's so stupid, and how Charles Dance just degrades him under his breath. And this definitely, and also Michael Kamen, who did all the music for all the Lethal Weapons and all the real Die Hard movies, which is 1 through Die Hard with a Vengeance. And he did the music for Action Jackson and Roadhouse and a lot of those Joe Silver produced actioners of the 80s. He does the music for the film as well. So this reeks of the films that it's actually making fun of. I love how they kind of make fun of the movie world and how all the numbers are like 99999 or 5555 or whatever. You see Sharon Stone and Robert Patrick and F. Murray Abraham shows up, and the kid goes, "Oh, he killed Mozart," and he's talking about Amadeus, and he's like, "Mo who? Oh, I killed a lot of people. I can't remember half of them." But the problem is, it just didn't have a clear direction of where it wanted to be. As for an Arnold fan myself, I enjoy the film. I've always loved it. I think my only issue I take with the film is that I think the death with the kid is too heavy. And also I think the film is too long. It's entirely too long. That whole last third act, which that third act is good, which takes place in the real world. I like the Arnold versus the Ripper setting up the scene from earlier in the movie. I really like that. Oh, and I also forgot to forget there's tons of cameos. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Damon Wayans, Tina Turner, Chevy Chase, Jim Belushi, just a slew of actors. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife at the time, Maria Shriver, shows up in the movie as well. So this was a vanity project, and I think there was just too many cooks in the kitchen, and they weren't sure what it wanted to be. I believe the budget, I don't quote me, but I believe the budget was like $150 million or something. I think it was that. But the movie had grossed, I think, in the United States only like 60 or 50 million or something like that. So it lost a lot of money. But it is fun, but I still do recommend it because it has enough really cool stunts and actions and movie nods and all sorts of fun stuff in there. It goes at a pretty good pace for most of it until the third act. But I still enjoy it. I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. So, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, hit the bell, and leave comments down below. And on Thursdays, go and check me out over on the podcast Region Free, who is hosted by my buddy Pizzao. Check it out. And if you have a problem with PG-13 action movies that star Arnold Schwarzenegger, why don't you just go watch The Bridges of Madison County? RMJ Movie Reviews, I'll see you soon.